Welcome to the very first edition of the Ray Bros Nerd Show. My name is Jonathan Ray. I will be your host with my brother Zach Ray.
What's up, guys?
So basically, what I'd like to do is start off with what was the basic idea, Zach, about doing this podcast together?
I mean, like, one of the big reasons is, we both have separate lives. We're, grown up adults, we live kind of far away from each other. So this was kind of a way, like, to make sure that we, spend some time together every week, and basically we have weird, crazy conversations about nerdy stuff like all the time, and it's basically like, hey, let's just start recording those things.
Yeah, I actually like the idea when you brought it up to me because I was like thinking, I'm like, anytime we talk together, it usually ends up being like a 3-hour conversation about nothing. The way we're trying to do this is maybe like each week have like a topic of some sort or organize it somehow. But if we go off on a tangent, just don't judge us. So basically, I guess what we could do is maybe introduce ourselves to people who are not familiar. The first system I ever had was Atari 2600, and the first game I ever played was Pitfall. And I played that game. I think it still holds the record for how long I played the game. Like total, not like combined, like 6 hours here, 6 hours there. But I played Pitfall for like 32 hours straight because I'll never forget. I opened my Atari. It was Christmas. Hooked it up to a television. Next thing you know, my mom comes in the very next day. She's like, "You're still awake?" And I was just like, yeah.
Was I even born back then?
I think if you were probably like really small still.
Because I remember like Dad even still talks about it. Our dad, Mike Ray, he talks about playing what was it?
Combat? Yeah.
Combat, yeah, the tank game. He's like, oh, me and John play that tank game. And I'm pretty sure that might have been one of the last times he's ever touched a video game controller.
Yeah, it's funny because he used to destroy me on that game, like especially when I was younger, obviously. Because with that game, you can actually move your tank. It was basically the premise was it's just like a green screen, and there's a grid, but it's not really grid. It's just like a square and two tanks shooting at each other. And basically, I didn't know, and he would always cheat that you can drive from one side of the map and go to the other. So you could basically go through the map more or less. And I used to ask him how are you doing that? And he would never tell me until I grew up a little bit and learned how to do it. And then the playing field was a little bit more even.
Yeah.
Can you remember the first game that you played?
The first game that I ever played.
At least remember.
My earliest gaming memories really were mostly when we got that Sega. I was, we probably had a Nintendo at some point, but I'll never forget, it was like a rainy night, it was a Friday night. Dad must have been in a pretty good mood for some reason. I don't know what was going on, but we went up to Funko Land.
Yeah, I was about to say we got it at Funko Land.
And this was way after Sega had come out. It's not like we were, a wealthy family.
Yeah, it wasn't when it was first announced.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure by the time we got the Sega, the PlayStation 1 had already came out. Which means at that point, too, then the Sega Saturn was already out.
Yeah.
And so I remember, we got Sonic and, we had Combat Cars. Combat Cars, literally one of the best, racing games I've ever played. It's still fun today.
Yeah. Now, how would you describe Combat Cars? Because I feel like it's kind of like Twisted Metal, but not open world concept, I guess.
Yeah, it's okay, first off, it's isometric view, top down, above the cars. And really, before even Twisted Metal, I guess it's probably closest comparison would be Mario Kart. Because you got to figure, like, outside of the fact that, Mario Kart, you had pickups that you would get that would give you, like, powers and stuff.
Where you could throw, like, the turtle shell, or you could do the cloud or whatever. I can't even remember, like, some of the original. I only remember the powers from, like, Mario Kart 8 and 9, but, like, the blue shell and stuff like that, combat cars, the way they had it different was each character had their own special ability. So, for example, there's a character named Growl, and he basically looked like a bear, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, what was that guy?
And basically, he was a bear, and his name was Growl. And his special was a boost, like a speed up. Now, that sounds kind of lame, and technically it really freaking is. But the thing is throughout the races, like if you place first or second, even if I remember correctly, you can actually get power-ups to your special abilities. So when you would hit boost, instead of it being like 1 second, 2 seconds, just for example, it could last 3 to 4 seconds, which could, make it easier for you to land, I guess.
Yeah, which is funny because when you're playing, the multiplayer is just straight up multiplayer. You have your abilities and that's it. But it's definitely like one of those games where, fitting thing is right now we're playing Black Ops 3 and I'm getting destroyed because I haven't played online multiplayer in a long time. And then it crashes.
Yeah.
But the thing about it was in the single player, as you're going along, like between races, you go to this upgrade shop, and it was so funny because you can tell it's from that generation because it had
a lady in a bikini top with her boobs hanging out.
And that's something interesting. Like in general, we can talk about in the future about the gaming industry, of like how much it's matured, yet how many things have like stayed the same.
Well, now people get kind of upset about certain ways characters dress and stuff like that, and that's like a whole different topic for another podcast we'll have to do for sure.
Yeah, there's
what people need to understand is I'm a military veteran, so to offend me takes quite a lot of work. And when I see individuals get offended by certain things, it kind of makes me laugh because I'm like, if you only knew the things that we have compared to other countries, you would not be offended ever.
Exactly. That's the thing. Like, I don't know how John feels in this situation, but this is the first time we've ever done a podcast. Like, so I'm sure a lot of it seemed like a little less natural than a normal conversation would be. But so a little nervous. But really, once me and him start talking, there's some dark humor that comes out in the jokes we make, especially like we grew up together and. There's some history in our family that, is ripe for making fun of.
Basically, hillbillies, more or less, I would have to say.
Yeah, like it. But and a lot of people aren't like that these days. A lot of people are very easily offended. But that's, as we said, like that's another topic for another day. But this podcast. I suppose as it's called Nerd Show, isn't just going to be about video games. As anybody listening to the podcast who knows me and John personally, cornerstone of who we are and our relationship, one of our biggest idols is a completely fictional character.
Batman.
And people can say, oh, that's shit.
Pretty typical. Yeah, I guess so, yeah.
But like we grew up in a time where Batman was the king, and Batman, was the superhero you'd see in movies, and
well, it was even before movies. Like we had the animated series, like we used to watch that quite often, and I'm talking about I guess it's not technically original animated series. I can't remember, but basically the one that Kevin Conroy voiced.
Yeah, that was the animated series. Paul Dini was a mastermind in the writing, and what's his name? I can't believe I'm forgetting his name right
It's alright. People just if you want to, we'll post this online. So if you want to comment to remind us, we'll end up looking it up anyways because that's kind of who we are. Like I'm the kind of person like if I can't remember, I'll typically ask Zach. And then if Zach doesn't know, even though we have the internet available, you can ask it any question. It's like one of those things I think that if you come up with the answer yourself,
It's a victory.
yeah, it's like I'm like I didn't need not to plug anything. I didn't need Google or I didn't need Bing. If God bless you if you use that or whatever, but
You're doing shit wrong.
yeah. Or Ask Jeeves if you want to get real crazy.
No, ask.com.
Ask. Oh yeah. Oh, excuse me. I apologize. It used to be Ask Jeeves or Ask Jeves if you want to get weird about it, but
that does kind of age us quite a bit.
yeah. Kind of.
I mean, 8.5. You know.
I mean, I'm comfortable with being old. I mean, I'm not old. I guess I'm only 30, going to be 31, but still, I guess. Like,
Yeah, that's the weird thing with me is like I'm only 25. Like I just turned 26.
Yeah, I was about to say. It's just your birthday.
But and you know I've got a job.
Yeah.
I got a house.
Yeah.
I have a kid.
Yeah.
The thing about that though is like all this nerd stuff. Like this is.
It's like a good hobby to have. I think it's a positive hobby.
Yes, like I could be, you know, vape life 420 and stuff like that. Like I could be into any kind of like silly, ridiculous.
Which if that's your thing, I feel bad for you, but at the same time,
well,
good on you.
Yeah, do you? But
yeah.
I mean, really, like this is a large part of who I was growing up.
Yeah.
You know, and it still matters to me today. And I'm excited to like share these things with my son.
Yeah.
And so like I'm gonna say right now, like anybody who looks at this stuff like, oh, that's immature or whatever, shut up. All of you are going to the theaters right now.
Watching Marvel or watching DC or
yeah, it's the biggest thing on the world, and it's number. So anybody who's like, oh, whatever.
It's a $1 billion industry, so I'm in the same boat. Like I don't have a kid or anything, but you know, not to toot my own horn or whatever, but you know, I served the military. I've seen some of the worst of the worst. You know, I have a college degree. Not like I'm justifying anything, but I'm just saying. College degree, pay my own bills, got a new car. You know, my job is to help veterans get careers. I don't think it should really matter like what I do on my personal life, because like anybody that works with me knows I keep my personal life and my work life completely separate. Because if I'm going to talk to a company, I might not mention, hey, did you know Two-Face is my favorite?
You should take a gamble every once in a while. That might pay off.
It could. If the environment is right for it, you know what I mean? Like, hey, if I flip this coin, are you going to hire this vet? If not, I'm going to blow your face off. That's not. I don't know if that conversation is good for anyone or healthy.
I mean, yeah. But the reason I bring up any of this at all is just like, hey, if you guys are listening to this podcast, you know, you're in a safe place. And we're hoping to, you know, in the future, like, get some audience interaction and stuff and take questions and, you know,
maybe hear our idea on something if you like that sort of thing.
Yeah, or even like if we have a viewpoint on certain things, like I know I'd like to do, like everybody likes lists, but I'd like for in the future us to have our own personal top list of like favorite video games, favorite movies, favorite hero or comic book series like run.
Yeah.
Because nowadays there's so many different things in comic books. Like I'll say right now, Saga is one of the best, not just comics, but one of the best books I've read in a very long time. So I'd like to, you know, do those and like, you know, people are like, no, Rock of Ages is not the best JLA storyline. You know, I'd like to hear why and stuff like that. So this is just a safe place, you know. Part of this is for me and my brother to spend some time together, but it's also like, the best thing about being a nerd is, you know,
can talk about anything, basically.
Yeah, and you can go, you know, most people don't like going to a video game store and spending a bunch of money. They like to go to a video game store or comic book store.
And understanding what they're getting into, I guess.
Well, and like going there to just talk to other fans of like the stuff you're into.
Yeah.
Because you have the internet at any time. Like this will be broadcast over the internet.
Yeah.
But having those personal interactions, talking about your favorite, Batman movie or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like sharing that with other people and seeing the enthusiasm that people have and also arguing about this stuff.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm sure there's going to be points where me and John argue over our opinions of different things, such as Madden 17. But
yeah, for people who don't know, even though I'm a nerd, I still enjoy sports, which I guess is rare, which is interesting to me because I feel like some of it goes hand in hand because it's like I enjoy shooting people in a game, but I also like seeing people do it in real life, even though they do get paid an obnoxious amount of money to do so.
And it's funny too because at this point in my life, like I could care less about who's winning the AFC East or anything like that.
Yeah.
But all through high school, I played. In middle school,
yeah.
I played football, and it was.
I did 1 year of baseball, and that was me.
You did an awesome job shagging those balls.
I literally, this is way off topic, but I literally won an award for catching, or not catching even, going after the most foul balls. It's true, I have it, and my coach cried because I was so proud of me, and that's just pure determination. That's what makes me a good military person probably, is because I'm dedicated to do the dumbest shit or dumbest stuff. I guess we can cuss. It doesn't really matter. But,
I can't.
I can't. I'm sorry for anybody who thought this would be PG because, listen, WWE, which is another thing that we probably will talk about very minimal because I'm into it. My brother's like, what the hell is wrong with you still?
There's some. I like some of the, behind the scenes, like, drama and stuff that goes on with it. Like,
but the overall, which is fine.
Oh, but I can't watch it.
I'm like I guess I wouldn't say closet nerd of it, but like if I'm talking to a new person, and let's say I'm wearing a Dean Ambrose shirt, which is a current superstar on WWE, for example, and they're like, "Hey, man, cool shirt," then I'll talk to them about it. But if they're looking at me like, "Why does your shirt say unstable on it?" or if they don't make a comment at all, I guess it's not like I go around and like, hey man, what do you think about this shirt?
Austin 316. Right?
Yeah, I do have an Austin shirt, which is so prototypical, but that's a lot.
Well, hey, remember when wrestling was good?
Yeah, when wrestling, like, even though wrestling has always been, I'm not going to use the F word, but has always been predetermined. The Attitude Era, or even before the Attitude Era, for the most part, made you think, or made it seem like it was more up to chance, I guess you would say.
See, I feel like with wrestling, it's cool for the younger kids.
Which totally this is me, but let's go.
Because they think
John Cena is
well, they think it's real. Like when you're that age, you think it's real, and these guys are beating the hell out of each other. And they're also talking real cool, good smack on the mics.
Yeah.
But even as an adult, like, you can still respect
what they do, because that takes a lot of cardio. It's got to be
not only cardio, but it's not like that the mat is made out of like pillows.
A pillow. No, it literally is like a springboard with a piece of cardboard, and literally the mat is just like felt, I guess would be the best way to describe it. It's like a top of a trampoline, more or less, but it's not as giving.
Oh yeah, it's the top of a trampoline with like a piece of flat material right under that trampoline.
Yeah, with a springboard to kick it back, I guess, a little bit, or make some of the impact noises. Anyways, I could talk about that for a while.
Okay, so you can see, we'll go on tangent. So I'm going to put John on blast right now, and he's been ducking this question
I probably don't want
for a couple of weeks now. But because we're recording and because this is going to go on the internet,
which I could totally edit this out, but I'll let it go.
Yeah, that would be shitty.
Really shitty.
So John, I want to get you a video game for your birthday.
Oh God.
And part of me would like to be able to, play the same game at the same time.
Yeah.
Get through it, do a spoiler cast on it, because we both don't have all the time in the world to play, but
Yeah.
hey, a spoiler cast a month after a game comes out, I don't see any problem.
Yeah. Or even if you just give like a, because you were telling me that you wanted to talk about BioShock later. I'm like, I'll probably give you some time on that. I mean, if you haven't played BioShock by now, finish the podcast, do yourself a favor, pick up at least the first BioShock. Well, now it's in the collection, I guess, so you don't really have a choice.
$60 for 3 games, all the DLC, most of which is good. Well, here's the thing.
Whatever it still has.
No, you're ducking the question again. You see how he did that? He's like, oh, BioShock, and I'm like, I love BioShock.
You have to understand, I'm very good at not answering things. Well, the thing is me personally, like, and some people might be able to attach to this. It's like, it's hard for me to ask for something, even though somebody is actively saying you can have it.
But here's the thing with this example is it's partly selfish too, because I'm going to get whatever this game is too.
Yeah.
And then that way we have,
the same kind of
what we could have is like a whole episode of content about this game. Or even, as we record each week, talk about, like, towards the end of the episode, dedicate 20 minutes to talking about, our progress and how we've been doing. And if you didn't play it that week, who cares?
Yeah.
If you got fed up with it and you traded it in, who cares? But at least, like,
yeah, it's nothing personal.
And it's strictly like I'm gonna get you something else as well. Like that, I still have to work out. I'm doing some Amazon searching, probably go to the mall, but I have some spare credit. So it's not even like this is completely coming out of my pocket.
Oh, yeah, I know. No,
I'm giving you every excuse in the world to tell me,
like,
what game are you looking forward to coming up?
All right, well, what the funny thing is I did take time yesterday and I used the GameStop app, which anybody that ever used that app, it knows it's not the greatest in the world, but it gave me the ability to look at each game that was coming out retrospectively, soon or maybe after. Because my birthday's in October, and you would think October would be a prime month for games, which it kind of is this year, I think.
Well, everything's getting delayed this year.
Yeah, but with everything kind of lagging behind, which is, I don't know what's happening with that. I think everything, unless it's on DLC, it doesn't count. I don't know. Anyways, usually games will come out in November that I want.
Well, I'm saying it's fine. I can pre-order a copy.
I know that. I was just saying in context. Anyways, I guess I can get down to it. I looked into Mafia 3, and I think that would be probably the winner. The other game that I honestly would like, and the funny thing is I don't even watch the show that much, so people are going to be like, how dare you? But the South Park game. I don't know why. I really don't watch the show. I've seen a couple episodes, I have. But I think I would legitimately enjoy that game.
So, I mean,
because it's like...
This begs the question, then, is if that's what you want, and that can be your game to talk about as you progress through it, that's fine. Like me, I already have my Mafia 3 paid off.
I'm in it. You're like, I'm in it.
Oh, that game looks amazing. What it's doing with, race and everything. All right, let's make a Mafia game where you're killing the Mafia as a black man. That's ballsy, and that's awesome. I'm not saying I hate white people. World's got a lot of problems, but that's neither here nor there for this podcast.
Yeah. I don't think we'll cover too much politics on here, unless you really, really have to.
No. Unless there's some issue where it's video games are getting outlawed. It's well, the world is fucking done.
Which I'm sure they've tried a couple times.
But, so game, I'm 110% on board. But if what you're wanting to play is a South Park game, I'm never going to play a South Park game.
I'm saying if you were to get me something, Mafia is it. I can get Fractured Butthole, which is, okay. Side note, Trey Parker and Matt Stone, I think, are comedic geniuses. Because, for example, the one thing political, I guess, is recently, because of all the oppression, I guess people are calling it, there's NFL players that are taking a knee during the national anthem. Now, I have a different point of view on that, but I'm not really going to talk about that here. But um, so the latest South Park in the episode, I didn't even watch the whole episode, so don't hate on me. I just watched the video tidbit or whatever. Basically, they had a guy that's like, "All right, please stand for the national anthem, or take a knee, or like it was like, or sit down." So he was like, "I don't know what to do. I don't like." He kept on like trying to stand up, sit down, take a knee, and like everybody started like sitting. They're like, "Oh, okay." And I think it was J.J. Abrams. And they're like, "J.J. Abrams has saved the world." Because basically, anyways, but I just think that's hilarious. Like, it takes something that's like super serious and probably should be like talked about or whatever, and just turns it on its head, which is comedy. I cannot not appreciate or whatever, but I can buy that like past its like coming out time because I'm not coming out, which is fine because Trey Parker Mets are pretty sure are homosexuals. Anywho,
They're not. They're married and have kids.
what? Nuh-uh. They
Yes.
full blown made out in basketball.
Okay, well, I mean,
I guess that doesn't really.
Like, I'm pretty sure that's why they call it acting. Like, they got paid.
I watch wrestling. I get confused with the difference between acting and.
Yeah, because that's the thing. Those guys, they grew up all up on each other. And we're not going to get into this.
Anywho, but no, Mafia 3 would be it for sure. Because not only I enjoyed the first two Mafias, like most people I think should. And if you haven't played those, at least give it a try. It might not be for everyone. Because I think one, just like you go back in time, I guess they're all kind of in the past, obviously, but one is like you're a military person coming home and you're kind of dealing with the struggles of unemployment, which still happens to vets, but I'm not going to get into that right now. But and then you kind of work your way into the mafia and things like that. And I just thought that was a great little.
Well, that's, all of them do that. Like this one, he's coming back home from Vietnam.
Oh, okay.
So, like, usually with those games, the first mission is always well, back then it was World War II. I believe they did World War II for both of the first ones. And then you get into the game proper, and then that's when it's like GTA, but you have to follow fucking speed limits.
Yeah.
And you gotta watch your gas. I love it. Like, there's something about.
But it's not obnoxious like.
No.
Yeah. You could do 10 over, but if you were like, which is funny because it's almost like real life now, but if you're obnoxious with it, then the cops are gonna pursue you. I guess it's a correct terminology.
But yeah, this game, and it's by a new studio that's working on it. It's not, the original developers.
Yeah.
But they basically made like a super team of like all these different developers who team shut down, or they were looking for a new opportunity, or they wanted to start, have a bigger role in the games and stuff. So it's weird. Like, I was looking forward to Deus Ex, but I already knew I was gonna like it.
Did you get the augmented pre-order?
See, well, what happened with that is basically there was such a shitstorm where it augments your pre-order, where you choose this or that, and it has there had to be a certain number of people to pre-order it.
Yeah, and it would only unlock certain things if you got to that number.
Yeah, and then you had to choose what are the two things. So everybody got the augmented edition. Essentially, they gave you everything. I even got a short story. I got an art book. I got a soundtrack. Which I still got to read the book, but at the same time, I don't know. I'm way back. I beat that game, got through the whole thing without killing a single person, which was awesome, but took a lot of extra time, pretty much.
That sounds incredibly. Not like I'm a kill thirsty person, but that sounds incredibly uneventful.
It's weird though because it's so much more intense because you're sneaking up on people. You're having to avoid cameras and turrets and stuff like that. And I don't know, it also makes it to where the abilities you unlock are so much more important. So it's like, I would literally always keep 2 Praxis kits available. So if I needed a certain ability, I could unlock it whenever I needed to.
Yeah.
And so I would like save, test to see if it helped me through. Like, oh, I saved spam that game so many times. Like I was a filthy multi-save, multi-load fucking.
Well, you also
shooter.
have, like you said, child. So I'm sure, like, even if you're doing a good streak or something, you have to like stop, and then
Yeah,
you know.
which is funny. Like, all right, we decided Mafia 3. I'm gonna get you a copy.
Yeah.
Which
now I'm gonna be looking forward to that.
Yeah, that's only a few weeks away. I think.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's.
But I think I have to wait till my birthday before I officially get anything. I don't know what the rules are on that.
No, I'm just gonna give it to you because I'm not gonna want to sit around not playing it. Also, it's kind of cool because it comes out on a Friday, so I'm almost wondering if we should like that Friday it comes out, do the podcast that day.
Play and record.
I don't even know if we need to really we could play the game and talk about it as it's going. We'll put subtitles on so it doesn't interfere with the sound.
Yeah.
Maybe at some point we'll have like video podcasts and streaming and stuff, but
yeah, for now we're doing it for the cheapest way I could think of possible. We're using 2 headsets that are split. I put a splitter on it, and I'm using my computer. And I brought my PlayStation 4 over because we're playing a game, so we're not like just staring at each other. It's not like we can't talk while staring at each other. Sometimes it's easier for my mind to work while I'm doing something sometimes. And then I got hooked up with a TV thanks to my mom. I didn't want to tell my brother until we got to the podcast. Well, I guess it's our mom.
The podcast.
The podcast. Sorry. Anywho, yeah. So we have a table. We have a small table. It's a very kind of a small setup. We'll maybe take a picture. I don't know. It might be a little creepy, but got the PlayStation rolling. Got the TV and all. So basically, the funny thing is I actually Googled, once again, cheapest way to do a podcast, and I saw this like, and the guy's like, just use your regular microphone, or he suggested professional mic, and I'm like, I don't have the budget for that, but he's like, just go through SoundCloud and stuff like that. So we're actually recording on Audacity, and then I'll take the time to take the file, save it, or whatever, and then put it on SoundCloud. And then I'm going to share it. We have a SoundCloud page officially, and that's at the Ray Bros Nerd Show, and also a Facebook page, and you can search the same. But we'll cover that at the end again. But yeah, Mafia 3 looks interesting to me. The newest game I've been playing, which is funny you brought it up, is the Madden game. And it's funny because, like, it's a sports game, so I don't expect it to be everything that...
It's an annual franchise.
Yeah, it's an annual franchise, so I don't expect that much out of it. But the worst part about it is I try to defend it to my brother. Not like defend it like you...
I bought the damn thing.
Yeah, I got my brother... I basically coerced my brother into buying it so we could play it together. And we went to play it together. And... there's something about my brother that brings out like an evil gamer into me, not in like a super negative way, but he's like, look at that football, that's some bullshit, or like something bad, like just awful shit would happen when I play with him. Like there's one time where a guy, somehow he was down, but he threw the ball up in the air, like it went straight on a line, like when you throw something, it went on a line, but it like floated up, and he's like, look, basically tearing the game apart, and it was bad.
In the game's defense, I'm also the type of person who I'm not competitive, so to speak, but when I'm placed into an environment where I'm supposed to be competitive, then it's everybody else's fault but mine that I'm fucking up.
Yeah, which I think is pretty typical. I'm even thinking that right now as we're playing Call of Duty. I'm like, we have a smaller screen than I have at my house. So imagine, I think it's like a 20-inch screen split in half, like the old school days, or I guess if this is the TV you have, I don't mean to offend you, but
I mean, some people have monitors this big, but they're like twice 4K or whatever.
yeah, but basically, like you would have a TV back in your youngin days, where it's like 24-inch tube, you're huddled together around it, praying to God that you see something, and that's with Call of Duty. So you know these kids, and probably adults, because I guess we're adults playing, are playing on their parents' like 60-inch fucking 4K, whatever, and we're playing in the split screen. I'm sucking. Like it's bad. I have like pictures of me doing like 24 and 12, or like 30 and 10. Now I'm like doing like 5 and 9. Like if I'm getting 5 kills, that's good. Anyways, back to the Madden. So my brother points out every bad thing about it, and like now even when I play it on my own, because here's my biggest pet peeve. So when I bought the game, I understand Madden Ultimate Team Online is a pay to be victorious type game. And if anybody thinks that is not true, I want to see how good you are, because there's no way in hell you can do well or progress your team without buying some shit. Now, I understand that's on the online version. Well, there's an offline version. Technically, you're still on the servers, which is whatever. That's a different conversation. But you're on the servers, but you're technically offline. So you're playing against the computer to earn new cards, earn players, all this different crap. Well, what I didn't know is still to progress, even offline, you have to like purchase shit. You have to purchase. I'm like, I am playing against a fucking robot. I'm not playing online against Joe Crabstreet from across the street. I'm not playing for money because you can gamble. I guess it's not gambling technically. You can put in coins, like $1 million coins to play a game. I'm not doing that shit.
Well, you also paid $60 fucking up front.
Yeah, and I paid $60 up front for the game, which is, nowadays, I mean, with so much DLC, it's kind of out of control. But anyways, I'm like, I at least expected at a minimum that I can play the offline version without having to worry about paying anything extra, which I think is the most fair statement in the world. Like, I'm playing offline. I am technically using the servers, but you're making so much money off the fucking people who paid to have a stupid card. No offense if that's your thing. A fake ass card for a fake ass person in a fake ass game. Paying millions of dollars, and they're making money. I'm not saying I hate them because they make money. That's every company's prerogative. I get that. But if a guy or gal, kid, whatever, is strictly playing the offline system, it should be separate from the online system. Because Call of Duty, for example, many people don't like Call of Duty, but the offline system is separate from the online system. Offline, if you play against the bots, you can have every attachment you want, more or less, close to it. You can have every gun, more or less, or close to it. And you basically are, playing for free. And online, if you want the good guns, you have to pay for this shit, or you can earn it, technically. But if you want anything cool, like the classified shit, you can earn it, but it's, again, one of those things where it's like you can pay to win, more or less. And that makes sense to me. But Madden decided, I'm going to give myself like 5 more minutes to talk about this. Madden decided whether you're on, which is technically EA Sports, if they're even called that anymore. I don't even know them. But they decided even when you're offline, you have to pay to play Madden Ultimate Team.
Yeah, it makes too much money for them. Like, I understand as a business why they do it, because there's plenty of people willing to pay it. But yeah, at least give the option to where it's like, hey, I want my deck separate for online and offline. I'm willing to have it separated for online, or for my offline game. I just want to experience the card game. But like, of course, if they want money, they're gonna make money. And if people are willing to pay, because that's the best advice you can give anybody who has a complaint about something, is vote with your dollar. The best thing you've done Did you buy any card packs?
Hell no.
There you go. Like, you voted with your wallet, and you may be the minority in that.
Oh, extreme minority, because you told me the numbers that they're pulling.
Oh yeah, it's $500 million, and that's across every platform and all of their sports games, NHL, FIFA.
We should find the way.
Yeah, I mean, but
which first of all, I want to apologize. I mentioned Nintendo in this podcast. Please do not send me a cease and desist letter.
if you just can't stream your game. And that's something to point out. I'm very much, a lot of people think I am like a Sony fanboy, and that's fine, but I prefer their ecosystem. I grew up with this system. I grew up with a controller, and to me, they're, I bought an Xbox One, and it was a nightmare, and I sold it to a dude named Sam, and it seems like every week or so he posts a thing on Facebook about how its system's having to update and it's taking forever. So I don't miss that thing. I compared, that situation to It Follows. Like, I basically gave him the sex bug.
You gave him the sex bug?
But it was an
Which
Xbox.
I have to, like, if it's okay, I'm going to take 10 minutes to talk about my PlayStation venture, or why I kind of have Sony over Microsoft, which I have a Microsoft Zoom, so I'm not totally against it, and obviously I have a computer which has Microsoft crap on it. Anywho. So the very first PlayStation, obviously, that we got was PlayStation 1, and it was on a random day. Like, we went to Best Buy, and it was me, you were there, our dad, our mom, and I think our sister. We have a sister, but
She was at.
yeah, I'm not sure if Amanda was there, which is her name, I guess. Hopefully, I won't say her last name, but you can figure it out if you just rewind the podcast. Anywho.
Well, not technically, she's married now.
Yeah, she's married now, so I guess it doesn't matter. Shut up.
If you know how marriage works.
Honestly, I don't know how many things work, because I just... I don't know. Anyways, so the PlayStation was there. On the back of the box of systems, I don't know if they do this anymore. I didn't really look at the back of my PS4, but they used to have the games that you could have on the back, like screenshots of the games. So they would have a sports game, or they would have a baseball game, or they would have Crash Bandicoot, all these different screenshots, and you would look at the back and be like, oh, look at these graphics, which that's why I have a problem with people complaining about graphics nowadays. I'm like, you have no idea what graphics are, because I used to roam around with 2 freaking tanks on a green piece of nothing, and that was considered a game. Anywho, but so I was like, hey Dad, this is the PlayStation, this is kind of what it's about, blah blah blah. Like, basically, when you're a little kid, you could sell a used pair of underwear to your parents if you knew what you're doing. And this was, once again, like, the PlayStation has been out. Like, it's been out for a hot minute, and I think it was $100 at the time. And my dad, at first, he's like, not understanding the technology and us not having the things in the world, you know what I mean? Like the money or whatever. He was just like, I don't know, blah, blah, blah. We just kept on walking, and I did the where I walked by, but like I looked back like it was a long lost friend, like, we'll never see you again, you know what I mean? And then he turns around, I swear it's true, he's like, go get it. Like, pissed off.
The Rays hate spending money.
Yeah, we do not enjoy spending money, but he was like pissed off, but he told me to get it. I never ran so fast in my life, and the sad thing is I ran a track at one point in my life. But, I was in the military, I guess, but never ran so fast in my life. Grabbed the box, went home, went to play it. I can't even remember the first game we had with it. It was probably Jet Moto, or the snowboarding game. I can't think of it. Cold Borders, yeah. And then when the PlayStation 2 came out, this is at the time where I started working.
Yep.
I worked for our dad, who does like a fencing company type thing.
That's where I work still to this day. That's a
Yeah, my brother still works there. God rest his soul. And
hire me.
I work for the state of Indiana, so but I'm not a tax collector, thank God. I help veterans. But anyways, back to so PlayStation 2 is out. Once again, it's been out for a while. It wasn't when it was like hot off the market, when people were like standing in line for that damn thing. And I went out. I think it was my first check. So that's how financially responsible a teenager can be. First check, me, my brother, once again, my mom. I don't think my sister was there.
I think Ted.
One of my buddies, no, he wasn't. It was just me, you, my mom. And my brother and I went by where the PlayStation 2s were at and picked it up. Picked up a game called Red Faction, which I want to have almost like half a podcast about because I still think that's one of the funnest multiplayer shooters there is. Like, yeah, now I want to play it. Anyways, my brother and I went home and we played that damn thing to the ground. Because Red Faction 2, real quick, on a basis, was about a miner, and there was like a revolt happening, and there's like a disease type thing. Well, what the game had that many games did not have back then was called Geomod. And what that meant is you could take a bazooka, shoot at the wall, and the wall would not disappear, but blow up like you would in real life. Like, even in Call of Duty, you can't blow up a fucking car. But back in the PS2 game called Red Faction, you could blow up an entire hole and, like, go into it like you would, like, creating, like, a Minecraft or some shit. Anyways. Yeah.
Like Minecraft. Because basically, it stays destroyed, too, and, like, if you were in a corridor and there's a bunch of guys, you could throw a bunch of C4, fucking shoot a rocket at the wall, and literally do, like, a U and get through behind them.
Yeah, you could blow up the wall enough to sneak behind people. So online, or I guess it wasn't online, excuse me, offline multiplayer with bots. Bots, which, if you don't know what bots are, it's basically the computer controls characters. I'm not going to offend your intelligence, I'm going to just assume you know what it is, if not, you can look it up. Anyways, so the PS3 and Xbox 360 are coming out, right? And this is when I'm making the decision, because you have to understand, when the Xbox 360 first came out, they made that seem so much better than the PlayStation 3. Yeah, PlayStation 3. Because the PS2 destroyed Xbox originally. In sales.
It looked better.
In games. But I apologize, but it's the truth.
And that was a console that only lasted 5 years. And then next thing you knew, the 360 was out a year before the PS3.
So, I even forgot about that. So, I get an Xbox 360 first, if I remember correctly. Yeah, first. And it was the original white ones, and that thing red ringed on me. And this is before I even knew what the red ring of death was. It was just like an occurrence that happened. So, I sent it to Microsoft, and I think my brother's getting a PS3 at this time, or he's dealing with an Xbox 360 too, I can't remember. But basically, it red ringed on me. So they sent me a new one, and I'm thinking, okay, so on a basic knowledge, I'm assuming, as a consumer would, you sent me something new, this one's going to work just fine, right? No, not even close. The second one red ringed on me. And at this point, I'm getting a little pissed off, and so basically, it's like 3 months before I can even play the damn thing while people are talking about the PS3 is coming, PS3 is coming, blah, blah, blah. So, I get my third Xbox 360. Red rings on me again. And at this point, I'm just done. I'm just furious. So I just asked for a straight refund. I'm like, I can't deal with this faulty system anymore. I'm like, I've never heard of some of the issues before. Like, because even back then, like when systems messed up, there was very few and far between. It wasn't like that shenanigan or whatever. So I get a PS3. I think it was at that point, because I just saved my money, it was the second one to come out. So the first PS3 that came out could play PS2 games, PS1 games. The second one that came out could play PS1 games, but not PS2 games. And so the one I had is the big box PS2, or the one that plays PS1 games. And it could still works to this day. Like, it still works. So basically from there, I just decided to stay with PlayStation, and I had an Xbox. I never got an Xbox One or anything like that, so that's kind of like where I stopped, was PlayStation 3, went on to PlayStation 4, and so forth. So, what current game are you like? Have you been playing? Like, you've been telling me you need to talk about Bioshock, so I want to give you the time and space.
Okay, so Bioshock, I still remember the exact. Okay, if you haven't played Bioshock, you want to play Bioshock, you haven't seen the twist in the game, fast forward like 30 seconds or so. So I'm going to spoil it and then I'm going to explain the story. So basically, in the game, you kill Andrew Ryan, and it turns out that you're sent there as a clone, essentially, with mind control. And every time this guy who's guiding you, who's Andrew Ryan's biggest enemy, every time he says, "Would you kindly," you do what he says. So I still remember the day, spoilers over, I still remember the day that I experienced that twist in that game, which, you know, the gameplay is not the greatest thing ever. Basically, you use your weapons in one hand, and then you switch to your powers called plasmids in the other hand, and you alternate between those, like killing these spliced out people. I'm not going to go too in depth on the like story and setting, outside of to say that it is one of the most well realized, gorgeous like worlds in a video game. Even to this day, this game is 9 years old. It's amazing. So I still remember the day I got to that point in the game, and I literally sat down the controller and had to walk away for like, I think I ended up taking our sister to work that night, and the whole ride taking her to work at Wendy's, I'm telling her that I just experienced one of the greatest like narrative things, and it's a video game. Like video games went from your side scrolling as a blue hedgehog or a a plumber
Technically.
to now like this Ayn Rand like story unfolding in this utopia that turns into an absolute nightmare. And the thing I'm doing now, because they released the collection, which has 1, 2, and Infinite, which I'm sure once I get around to playing Infinite again, I'll talk about how amazing that game is, with how it handles race and religion and.
Oh, it's definitely about religion, I've heard. I never got to play Infinite, but I heard it's a lot of religious overtones, I guess the word would be for it.
Yeah, there's a lot of religious overtones, and it also, deals with, class struggle, and especially race. And it's not just, black and white. It's also like no Irish allowed in this bathroom. So it's not just,
Which, us being Irishmen, that's fine. We'll just piss on the floor.
I got the beer bottle I got drunk with right here. But I'm playing through Bioshock. And did you play through Bioshock? I don't know.
I don't remember the first one, unfortunately, so I might have to steal your copy or something. I do very much remember the second one. And I was going to joke with you how I enjoy Fear, the game Fear, more than I do Bioshock. But it doesn't hold the candle to it really fairly. It was just something I was going to say to fuck with you, because Fear kind of has a horror element. Like, I feel like Bioshock has a...
Oh, it definitely does.
Yeah, and Fear has a horror element. I don't want to cut you off too much, but Fear has a horror element. If you don't know what that game is, you should probably check it out too. But
First Encounter, Assault and Response.
Reconnaissance? I can't... Sad thing is, I just remember no, not... The bad guy. I can't remember.
Bill Paxton.
Alma was in the game, and she's an evil bitch.
Yeah, it's like the Rain meets Call of Duty meets Max Payne.
Yeah, anyway, so continue on with your...
Yes,
I remember the second one. Never played the third one, which I need to, obviously. And then I just don't remember the first one, which I feel like I probably should, but it's been a couple years, so...
Like, gameplay-wise, it's the worst, but I think world and all that...
And story and stuff like that.
And because I'm going through it again, and I didn't realize that how much I had forgotten, because the last time I played it was probably 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably like 5, 6 years ago when they released the collection for the PS3 and 360 that had Bioshock 1 and 2. I think they did it shortly before Infinite. But, anyways, so I've been running into stuff that I completely forgot, like Houdini splicers and stuff. But the thing I'm doing now is trying the hardest difficulty, and you don't have Vita Chambers, which the Vita Chambers are essentially like in that game, even when you die, it's really not that big of a deal because it doesn't even need to load. You just immediately respawn at these Vita Chambers. And any enemies you've been fighting, like the game was very much focused on narrative.
Yeah.
But this mode, where it's the hardest difficulty, which means like all the supplies you need and stuff are hard to find.
Are limited.
The enemies take more damage, you take more damage.
But is it like, here's my one thing, like, is it like obnoxious, like, damage, or is it like, does it still seem like fair?
You played Bloodborne.
Yeah.
It's not as hard as like early on in Bloodborne or bosses in Bloodborne.
Oh, okay.
Like,
so it still like makes sense though.
Because in that game you're very much like only fighting 2-3 enemies at a time, if that. Like usually it's 1-on-1 or 1-on-2, and then you got the big daddies and stuff like that to face.
Yeah.
But it's just playing in that mode. Like I'm even appreciating the story stuff that I forgot even more because every time you get to a new area or you find a new audio recording, it's like that much more like amazing because you've survived to get to that next thing. And the way the Vita Chambers work, like if you die and you forgot to save,
you're punished, basically.
Yeah. It goes back to your last save. There's no auto saves.
Oh.
So you have to manually save.
Which I like autosaves, but I do hate them at the same time. Because I feel like if you don't get to that part, you're just effed.
Yeah, it only auto saves when you get to a new area, which these areas are huge. They take a while to get through, especially if you're playing on a harder difficulty. But it's so rewarding, and that game is so good still. I will obviously talk about it more whenever we go through like our favorite games that we have because, like,
which could be an interesting conversation because I feel like that list might be hard because it's like, do I do my favorite games of like all time?
Well, I think it would be all time, and that includes like time and place. So, the games these days may not even be fun whatsoever. You can't even stand playing it. But if you have these like memories about how good it are.
We went to public school, so.
I can bite my own ear.
And I'm pretty sure you've probably had a few concussions from football, so.
Yeah. I also did a lot of drugs when I was younger.
So. I'm straight edge, my brother's not.
I said yes, please, to everything.
I said, huh?
What's that? That's gotta be illegal.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
Don't do. Hey guys.
But yeah, I think it's like a time and place thing. But like Bioshock, like if you've played it before and you want an extra challenge and something that makes you play completely different, I'd say give that a shot. It's like the one gold trophy in the game is doing that because I like trophies in terms of like if I really like a game, I like to go for certain trophies. I never really focus on getting a platinum, but if there's a game I really like and there's like a trophy that says fun, like I'll go for it.
But sometimes trophies themselves can be horseshit. Like I hate the ones that like force you to do like online scenarios with like more than one person. So like let's say it's like online you have to kill 1,000 people. Okay, that makes sense. But if it's like online you have to kill 1,000 people with 4, or I guess what it would be is like get a group of 4 and do this certain task. I don't know. It's like I hate that because like beyond you and I playing, like if I get 2 other people, like I would hate to force them to be like, hey guys, do you mind doing this very specific thing with me? You know what I mean? Like, and some people would be cool with it, but for the most part, it's like, this is kind of off topic from, that game, but
I feel like that would be another game that I want to really get into as well. Especially now that the winter season's coming because we live in Indiana. That's like one of those games I feel like you can sit indoors while it's snowing its ass off outside and just enjoy the story. You know what I mean? But well, we're getting to a part where we gotta kind of wrap things up. We want to try to limit this to an hour if possible, because if we don't, it'll be like 3 hours later, and the people that we know and love will probably not to be happy with us. So, is there any final things you kind of want to say, like in general about? I know you wanted to cover Bioshock more, and I apologize for that.
We will. This is the first episode. Really, all I want to say is like this was fun.
Yeah.
And I feel like we were very stiff at the beginning, loosened it up a little bit, but I mean, this is fun. This is like it's something interesting and new that I've never done. Like even if not a single person listens to it,
Yeah.
just the
We
thought
can
of
listen
like
to it ourselves, I guess.
not only that, but like imagine we just have this record of like, hey Grayson, here's your dad and uncle talking about nerdy shit when you were just a little baby, and he's gonna be able to listen to this.
Yeah.
Like that kind of stuff is so cool because I don't take a lot of pictures, but
And what would be funny if he's like not even into it? Like,
he's gonna love like
not to use a
sports
wrestling
and
term on you, but he'll turn heel on you.
Yeah.
Like, you're like, actually, Dad, I don't enjoy any of that shit. I enjoy, no offense, pop music or whatever, whatever, people do. Well, yeah, no, yeah, I agree. I had a lot of fun. I agree with the stiffness. I think it's like the funny thing is, it's like we're not used to staying on, I guess, a topic, and I kind of want to moving forward in a way, like maybe just have like a loosened topic and just float from there, like to keep us a little bit focused. Because, especially being the first episode, it might be difficult for people to follow us.
Yeah, which I understand. And like, we really kind of didn't do much planning with this.
We got the materials, we got the supplies, and we just run with it, which I think is awesome.
Which I think next time we're gonna set up like an email between each other and like what we think we should talk about and topics you'd like to. And obviously, we're planning on Mafia 3. That will be coming out soon. We're both getting Infinite Warfare. So that'll be coming out soon that we can talk about. We can talk about movies in the future and stuff like that.
Yeah, because movies is a whole different beast for me, because like if you ask me my top movies, I'll ask you what genre you want me to talk to you about. Because I can't just be like, top movies, just for example, like Citizen Kane. I'm like, well, technically Citizen Kane goes under this genre. We talk about horror, then I'm talking about Nightmare on Elm Street or whatever, you know what I'm saying? So basically, all right, so you'll be able to comment if you like. Follow us on Facebook at the Ray Bros Nerd Show. We're also going to be putting this on SoundCloud, which we'll have our own page on that as well. And I think if I remember correctly, you can comment there. So to search us on Facebook, just put at the Ray Bros Nerd Show. You can comment there, and it'll go directly to our email. We both have admin access, so either I can answer you, Zach can answer you, or we'll come together and be like, hey, this is something we could talk about together. And that's basically it. So I hope you have a good day, good night, whenever you listen to this, and stay nerdy.